John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures, series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing a new broadhead that's just hitting the market right now, and that is the SEVR TI 2.0, okay, the Titanium 2.0 by SEVR. Now, if you've been following SEVR, a couple of years ago they came out with their first broadhead, and that was the 2.1, okay? It was just known as the SEVR, okay? The SEVR 2.1 had a massive 2.1 cutting diameter. Really cool features about it in the way the blades can pivot around bone, and such a super low profile in flight, made out of titanium ferrule, so really strong. There was a lot I liked about that head, and I did some initial testing on it when it first came out. The only drawback that I saw in that head was that it wasn't the best at penetration. Now, with getting a full 2.1 inch cut, you don't expect it to penetrate super well, but that was just a critique of mine, that it could penetrate a bit better, I thought. So since that time, SEVR also came out with the 1.7 and the 1.5. They shortened the cut a little bit in the 1.7 inches instead of 2.1, and then 1.5 inches instead of 2.1. And those also had more of a swept blade angle to improve the penetration. I've come to love those heads, okay? The 1.5 is one of my very favorite heads, period. It's more durable than most fixed blade heads. By far the most durable mechanical that I've ever tested. I've taken animals with it all over the world. Love that head. Well, now they've come out with another big cut model, but that's also supposed to maximize penetration. And that is this TI Titanium 2.0. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here, explain a little bit more about it, show what's unique about it, explain some of the features, and then I'm going to put it through all the tests that I've been doing for 2020. I'm going to be testing it for penetration, for edge sharpness and retention, and for durability. I'm not going to be testing the flight. I've already tested the flight of the SEVRs quite a bit, and they fly exceptionally well. I mean, you can see the low profile, man, they just fly like a field point. But I'm going to put it through all those other tests, and I want to compare the 2.1 to the new 2.0 and see what the difference is in terms of penetration. So let's zoom on in here and check out the new SEVR 2.0. Here I've got the SEVR 2.1, and here I've got the SEVR 2.0. Now, before I get into the differences in the designs of each of these models, I want to go through some of the unique features of the SEVR in general for those of you who may not be familiar with it. What you have is you have a solid titanium ferrule, grade 5 titanium, one piece, all the way up, including the tip. And then you got the blades that are made out of a hardened 420 stainless steel at 0.032 inches thick. The blades are held in place by a little O-ring here at the base that fits into that groove. And when they're shot, and they penetrate right into the hide, or when they first make contact, these wing tips push the blades back, and they deploy and they lock into an open position like that, giving that full cutting diameter, in this case, of 2.1 inches. Now, this is really unique to the SEVR. There's not too many heads that have this locking blade technology. That's a big advantage. What I've found in other heads that have this type of blade deployment is when they go through a softer medium, the blades have a tendency to retract because they're not getting enough pressure on these wingtips. And so the cut that you get is a lot smaller than the advertised diameter cut. That's not the case in the SEVR. You're going to get this full advertised diameter cut all the way through the animal. Now, another unique thing about this locking blade technology is that they also pivot. And so after they lock into place, if one of the blades hits a hard bone or something like that, what can happen is sometimes that can just impede penetration, or it can cause the whole shaft to deflect off that bone and veer off course and maybe miss the vitals completely. I've seen that happen in animals. But the SEVRs have this ability to allow that blade to roll back, to pivot back, causing the other blade to push out farther and still get a decent cut. And then once it's past the blade, the pressure on this side causes the blades to go back to their original full cut. And again, they're locked in that position. So this allows the head to penetrate not only all the way through more deeply and not be impeded in penetration by that hard contact to one side, but it also allows the arrow to go straight through and not veer off course. So it's a really cool design. Another thing that's unique about it is they have this set screw that comes with the heads that you can screw in right there and keep the blades in the closed position. So you can use them for practice as much as you want and not dull the blades in so doing. Okay, so that's the overall design of the SEVR. Now, in terms of the difference between the 2.1 and the 2.0, you can see them right here. Now, they may look really similar. Let me make sure they're both in their right position, okay? So the total diameter cut of this one is 2.1. The cut of this one is 2.0. And what they've done is they've done actually 3 different things to increase the penetration for the 2.0 over the 2.1. First, it's a smaller cut, slightly smaller, 0.1 inches smaller, 2.0 versus 2.1. Second, the blades have a more swept angle to them. I don't know if you can notice that, but they have quite a bit more swept angle. If you stack them on top of each other, then you can see it a little bit better. But the 2.0 has more of a swept angle, so it's going to get an easier penetration, okay? There's less straightness to that angle. And then the third thing is the little wingtips that cause the deployment of the 2.1, they protrude a little bit further beyond the blade than they do on the 2.0. On the 2.0, they just slightly protrude, and that increases penetration. So those 3 changes and modifications from the 2.1 to the 2.0 are supposed to result in up to a 15% deeper penetration by and large. So I'm eager to put that to the test. SEVR out-of-the-box sharpness. 1 stroke of the arrow. 2 strokes of the arrow. 3 strokes of the arrow. 4 strokes of the arrow. 5 strokes of the arrow. The SEVR cuts paper after 5 strokes of the arrow. The 2.1 penetrated 6 3/4 inches, and the 2.0 penetrated 7 3/4 inches. Here's the head after going through the MDF 5 times. And as you can see, it looks brand new. So I'm going to see how it does on the steel plate. Here you can see the SEVR after going through the steel plate twice, and after having gone through the MDF. You can see the blades got pretty bent up, and yet it held together. Pretty impressive. So what'd you think of the SEVR 2.0? Man, I really like it. They've done a great job. I love the way that SEVR is increasing and expanding their lineup to basically come up with a top-tier mechanical head for any hunting setup in any hunting situation. You can go from the 1.5 to the 1.7. You had the 2.1, and now you can go with this 2.0. And the 2.0 gives you a nice 2 inches of cut in this direction, but also a 5/16 inch cut in the ferrule itself. So you're getting a hefty cut while also increasing the penetration quite a bit over the 2.1. And another cool thing about it is if you already have the 2.1 heads, you can just order the blades for the 2.0 and you can swap them out. These can be used with the ferrule of the 2.1. So it's nice that you can do that. If you want to pick up some penetration from the 2.1s that you already have, just get the new blades and put them in there. SEVR is coming out with some cool stuff, and they also have another head that's coming out right about now too called the Robusto, and that's basically this same 2.0 head, but rather than having a titanium ferrule, it has an all steel ferrule. And that comes in at a weight of 150 grains. The steel causes it to increase to 150 grains. They're marketing it primarily as a crossbow head, but it's a fantastic head for a vertical bow of any kind as well, because you're going to get that extra weight. So if you're looking to pick up a bit more durability and a bit more FOC, check out the Robusto as well. Now, because SEVR has a direct-to-consumer lineup and model of marketing. They don't sell through stores. They only sell through their website. They're able to give me a discount code that they let me share, which I really appreciate. And hopefully I can just pass it on to you. LUSK5, LUSKFIVE. If you punch that in as a discount code on any order on their website, then you get $5 off any order of any size. So whatever you buy, whether you buy any of their heads or you buy their really good SEVR HD Target, you can get $5 off of any of that just by punching in that code. So really good deal, great price structure. They eliminate the middleman. This is really a head worth checking out, any of their lineup, but I'm really liking the SEVR 2.0.